Not long ago, I'd probably say in 2016, right at the tail end of Fallout 4's DLC, a lot of discussion was when is The Elder Scrolls 6 coming? It wasn't what game is next from Bethesda Game Studios because everyone was becoming used to the cycle of a Fallout game and then an Elder Scrolls game. But at E3 2016, Bethesda Game Studios' Todd Howard shocked everyone when he revealed the following.
Are you guys going to do an Elder Scrolls 6?
I mean, that's kind of like the elephant in the room always when we talk about anything. And, you know, I think it's good to, in these moments, to tell our fans, yes, of course we are.
Okay.
You know, it's something we love, but it is, you know, I have to be careful what I say. It's a very long way off. I could sit here and explain the game to you, and you would say, that sounds like you don't even have the technology. How long is that going to take? And so it's something that is going to take a lot of time, what we have in mind for that game. And we actually have 2 other large projects we're also doing that are bigger than anything we've done. And people will probably hear about those even before Elder Scrolls 6. And that'll make sense many years from now.
Okay. So that's amazing. So you have a vision in your head of what you want Elder Scrolls 6 to be.
We think very long term. We're not a developer that's going to like rush something like this out. Any of our games. So when you think about what is the future of that kind of game, you know, we have a pretty good idea of what it would be, and it's just going to take technology and time that really we don't have necessarily right now.
Furthermore, Bethesda's PR and marketing vice president Pete Hines would take to Twitter to confirm Todd Howard's statements, saying Todd confirms to Jeff Keighley that his studio has 2 other major projects planned before we will see The Elder Scrolls 6. He would also add in another tweet, I often kid Todd that release date for The Elder Scrolls 6 will be 22/22/22. Our robot overlords will change our calendar system by the time it comes out. Since that E3 2016 revelation, a ton of fans have been in disbelief and believe that Bethesda Game Studios just has to be lying. In multiple interviews done after E3 2016, Pete Hines has been asked the very question, when will we see The Elder Scrolls 6? In one interview done with MMORPG.com, he said this, the studio Bethesda Game Studios is not a vending machine. They're not a 2-button vending machine, where first we press Elder Scrolls and then we press Fallout, and then we press Elder Scrolls and then we press Fallout. They're an incredibly talented studio of creative people. They've now made 4 games in a row, all of which were named Game of the Year, and they have a right to decide what they're interested in working on next and which direction they want to go. Additionally, at Gamescom in 2016, again Pete Hines was asked about The Elder Scrolls 6, in which he responded with the following.
You're probably not gonna reveal Elder Scrolls 6 right now. Okay, so sorry folks.
And just so you know, not at the next Gamescom and not at the one after that, and there are at least 2 big games from Bethesda Game Studios before we get around to Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay.
But now, fast forwarding to E3 2017, Pete Hines once again told people The Elder Scrolls 6 is not in development, and that 2 brand new RPGs are coming beforehand.
You mentioned BGS. Last year, Todd was here and kind of broke a little bit of news that the multiple projects sort of in the works there. You know, another Elder Scrolls down the road, and you probably answer questions every day on Twitter about
down
this.
the road. Down the road.
A few games down the road.
To reiterate, they have at least 2 major titles that they are working on before we're going to get to Elder Scrolls 6. Jeff, we gave you that nugget, and somehow everybody, including your friend of mine, Michael Pachter, like somehow everybody missed that. I tried to manage expectations for folks. You know the kind of games they make; they take a while, but they have two major things that they're working on, in addition to a lot of other stuff. You know, Skyrim Switch and all of these other things. Yeah, they are hard at work. They have a lot going on. And, you know, like I said at the outset, looking forward to talking about that stuff when we get to a point where we can really show what they're working on and not just speak to it, but like, here it is, here's exactly kind of what it's going to be. And looking forward to those. And then we'll get to TES 6.
You only answer a question on Twitter about that a couple
like
times
every
a day.
day, yeah.
But obviously, yeah, you said, and it feels like you said, I think some people interpret that like, oh, they're working on all 3 at once, but it's sort of like you have to.
No, we're pretty clear. Like TES 6 is not in dev while we work on. I mean, we're not talking about small things. We're not talking about like a Fallout Shelter kind of project, like big multi-platform, releases like you expect from BG.
It's clear that Pete Hines is exhausted of these questions, and it's starting to become an issue because the next Bethesda Game Studios title, when it does get announced, will be met with uproar from the Elder Scrolls community because they are tired of waiting. Let's just be honest, Bethesda's done their best to keep the Elder Scrolls brand alive, but it's understandable that the Elder Scrolls Legends, Elder Scrolls Online, and the re-releasing of Skyrim has run its course with many fans. So whatever does come next when it's not the Elder Scrolls 6, people are not going to be happy. When the game after the next one gets announced, well, I would advise Pete Hines to avoid Twitter for a few weeks. But in a recent video, we actually discussed what is more than likely the next upcoming game from Bethesda Game Studios, with that more than likely being the mysterious Starfield, which makes sense because it's clear that Todd Howard wants to try something new, and I don't really think we can blame them at this point. Unfortunately, this is becoming a problem because of the many analysts, fans, and journalists that have pestered Bethesda on the Elder Scrolls 6. It almost seems that any and all interviews that occur, that subject comes up. I honestly believe that there is a large sum of people that believe the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming later this year, due to this game constantly being brought up in interviews and being discussed as if it is in development. Recently, gaming analyst Michael Pachter, who I've discussed on this channel a few times before, pushed out some fake news saying, "I personally think they are working on it." Pachter told Gaming Bolt, "You know, Pete Hines took me on this last year when I said they might be working on it. He said it's not coming this year, so I think it's coming next year. Maybe they announce it at E3, but if I'm wrong, then I'll say this next year, and then the year after that, but it's in development." And these comments are total rubbish or fake news that came at the last day of 2017. If you listen closely at the E3 2017 clip, Pete Hines specifically mentioned Michael Pachter, trying to tell him it is not in development. While I'm sure some pre-production has been done, let's be honest, Starfield, if it does come in 2018, is their next title. After that, we have another mysterious project coming probably around 2021, and then finally we get to the Elder Scrolls 6, which is somewhere around 2023 to maybe 2024. Hopefully. A common misconception that many have with Bethesda Game Studios is that they are a huge studio, in which they actually are not, and there's only around 180 employees right now. Fallout 4 was a game that was made by only 108. As Todd Howard has stated, he sees both the Montreal and Maryland studios one big studio. To compare, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was made by CD Projekt Red and was developed by 240 in-house staff and over 1,500 people in total. Their next upcoming game, Cyberpunk 2077, has seen their in-house staff grow to around 500. The point being, it seems that Todd Howard really enjoys just having a smaller team and isn't necessarily looking to expand the studio that much like some other developers have. The Elder Scrolls 6 eventually is going to happen. Like Todd Howard stated within an interview with Glixel back in February of 2017, it's certainly a game that we will be making one day. Personally, I am excited to see what's next from Bethesda Game Studios. While I'm disappointed that the Elder Scrolls 6 is still years away, it hopefully means that they're taking their time to get it right, and if technology has been an issue, maybe that means they have some massive plans for the next installment, and want to wait for the next generation of consoles and or a new game engine to be made. Until then, it's important to stay open-minded for new things, because a new IP actually sounds interesting in my opinion, and you have to think that the Bethesda team wants to try new things. Unfortunately though, no matter what, there are going to be people like Michael Pachter that make it seem like this is a game that's close to being released, when in reality it's comments like these that are just setting up a lot of people for disappointment, and that's going to be a problem until the Elder Scrolls 6 is revealed at maybe E3 2023. Anyway guys, what do you make of Bethesda Game Studios' future games? Let me know in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.